Hi guys, it's Miss Bartz. Sorry I'm not at school with you guys today. I thought I would give you kind of your instructions via screencast. So as you can see on today's Google Classroom announcement, first of all, you have a couple things due. You should have finished all of your research, you should have read that research, and you should have taken notes on important stuff from that research. And then you should have finished part one of your outline. You are a little lucky because if you don't have this all done correctly, you have an extra day to kind of get it done. So this is kind of your checklist of what I'm going to be looking for at least. One, I'm going to be looking that you have 7 sources cited in Noodle Tools. 2, I'm going to be looking that part 1 of your outline is done. That should be in your Google Drive shared folder, that MGP folder. Third, I'm going to be looking that you've taken notes on all of your sources, and you could have done this in a variety of ways. Maybe you chose to print the article and annotate it. Maybe you chose just to type your notes directly onto a Google Doc and you put it in that shared MGP folder. Maybe you decided to take your notes by hand. If so, I'll check those on Wednesday. Or maybe you decided to take advantage of the note card function on Noodle Tools, which I can see. Then lastly, if you needed to fill out a cards form for any sources that were non-database sources, those should also be in your in that MGP shared Google Drive folder. So we're going to look at Ryan's as an example because he's got all of his stuff. So this is his folder. We can see that we have all these cards forms. We have his outline. I can see that he finished that part. We can see his notes are all here. So good job, Ryan. Then we look into his Noodle Tools, and I can see that he has 8 citations for all of his different sources. So that is exactly what yours should be looking like if you followed those directions. So again, if something's not in the right spot, you didn't do something, you do kind of have an extra day until I at least check it. All right, the next thing that we are going to talk about is the whole multi-genre project. We haven't really gone back to, hey, you're doing all this research for a reason, so let's check that out. On Google Drive or on Google Classroom today, you'll see this multi-genre research project overview. So go ahead and click on that, and it's going to look like this. I'm just going to zoom in for you guys. So what is this project requiring? Well, it's requiring your outline, which you are going to finish tonight. It's requiring 7 credible and reliable sources, which you already have done. Next, it's going to require 7 writing pieces. This is the fun, creative pieces that you get to write to share your research. You also will write a Dear Reader letter, you'll write endnotes, but we're going to talk about this next week. And then your works cited will be simple because Noodle Tools is going to do all the work for you. Your 3 to 4 minute presentation, we'll talk about it next week. So looking down, you are going to be writing 7 different pieces to share the information that you have outlined in the top of in part 1. I'm sorry. You are going to be selecting from this genre menu. Okay, so you can see they're broken up into informational, creative, and visual. So under informational, you need to choose at least 2 of these options. So things like letter to the editor, or a review of something, maybe a listicle. Maybe you'll create an interview between 2 people. If you're doing something science-y, maybe you'll do a lab write-up. Then you're going to choose at least 2 creative pieces. So recipes, journal entries, screenplays, obituaries, songs. And then you'll choose at least 1 visual. So an infographic or a political cartoon or a photo essay or an advertisement. So that is only 5 pieces. You get to pick what the last 2 of your genres are going to be. Maybe you'd want to write another blog post. Maybe you'd want to do another photo essay, and that's totally fine. Maybe, if you look up here, there's something you'd like to explore that's not on the list. Just ask me, and we can make sure that it would be good for this project. Now, if you select a genre that you're not so sure how to write, let's say an obituary, what do you think you would probably do to get the information to write an obituary? Well, you'd probably go online and read examples of other obituaries. So if you don't have mentor text available to you right away, go online and find mentor text on your own. All right, the second page just kind of goes over a few of the other things we'll talk about next week. If you want to look at any student samples, you can go back to your sample MGP exploration activity for those student samples. All right, so what you're going to do today, though, before you actually start writing these pieces, is you need to do the second part of your outline. So if you look up here, I've kind of put an example in. So my research question that I've been using, of course, is which subject is most important in high school? And of course, my claim is English is the most important subject in high school. You should already have this all finished. Then you're going to have your three main reasons and all the evidence that supports those main reasons. So one of my main reasons is written communication is vital for jobs. So here is all my made up research. 93% of jobs require some sort of written communication. Steve Jobs told CNN, English rocks. And more presidents are English, probably should say were English majors, which is not true, but it's going to work for my research. So now I'm going to go down to part 2. I'm going to put my main reasons in the different boxes. I'm going to look at my research that I have to cover, and then I'm going to think about which writing pieces are going to reveal this main reason. So maybe I'll go back to this list, my menu, and I might think, maybe a listicle would be a great way to share this information. Maybe a screenplay between an employer and an employee. And maybe a letter to the editor. So now I kind of have a few ideas of how I'm going to get this information across. Maybe I'm writing my letter to the editor as though I am an employer who's angry that none of my employees are good writers and they must have skipped English class or something. Maybe my screenplay will be between an English teacher and a math teacher, and they're going back and forth discussing the different perks of their subject, and the English teacher obviously will win. Maybe my listicle will talk about some of the jobs I read about in my research as needing good writers. So I'm going to do this for all 3 of my main reasons. Obviously, there are 9 bullet points here. You only need to write 7, so you can delete as needed. You're going to want to spread your informational, creative, visual around, so you're not doing, all your informational in one, all your creative for another. Kind of spread it out a little bit. Okay, so this is where you guys are going to be working today. You will not be chained to these ideas. If you end up wanting to change it, that'll be okay. But I want you to at least start thinking about really how you're going to take this information, turn it into these pieces. Maybe jot down some more ideas, whatever you want to do. But this is where you need to go first. If you finish this in class, go ahead and start writing a piece. If you look on our calendar, you will see that your outline part 2 will be due tomorrow. We will start writing. Your next deadline is here. You're going to have 2 pieces due by Friday. Send me an email if you have any questions. All right, bye guys.